All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Burbank, and I'm so delighted to be here to this wonderful opportunity today because we're doing the Comeback to Success podcast where we're going to be interviewing the wonderful Tara Rolstad. Tara, thank you so much for being able to do this opportunity to talk about mental health and just unravel different aspects of how people can work on themselves and be more opportunistic about the future and kind to themselves despite having mental health challenges possibly. So this
Absolutely.
podcast, this podcast series, we do a lot of conversations around mental health. We have conversations with other professionals, as well as just people who are advocates around mental health to give more insight on what to help people to grow and to find a better state of mindset so that they can thrive and become successful individuals. With that being said, we have a couple of questions that we're going to start with to ask Tara. Starting with the first question, what would be the biggest piece of advice that you can give to someone who is struggling with their mental health?
Believe in recovery. I think the biggest piece of advice I want the people I love who live with mental health issues and anybody who lives with mental health issues to hear is to believe in the possibility of recovery. Now, I don't know what recovery looks different for all of us, right? But we can all feel better. We can all do better when we get the help that we need and when we have the support around us that we need. And our society does a crappy job of talking about recovery.
Yeah.
We often, when we do talk about mental health and mental illness, which isn't nearly often enough either, we talk a lot about the stigma or we talk about treatment options, but we don't remind people that recovery is possible. It's not just possible, it's the expectation for most people. Even if they live with a serious chronic illness their whole life, they will be able to feel better. And if you're in a terrible moment right now, if you're feeling depressed or hopeless or uh, just really struggling, you need to know that that is this moment. That is not the truth of your reality forever.
That was well said, Tara. Yeah, I appreciate that. And here, I'm gonna take a step back and go back to giving you your proper introduction. I'm so sorry I didn't give you the introduction, but for those of you that missed it, Tara Rolstad is a professional speaker, author, and trained advocate with nearly 15 years of experience who helps organizations break open powerful conversations about mental health. She shares her inspiring personal journey as a parent and foster parent of children with severe mental illness, helping people understand the experiences of families and individuals who struggle with mental health and learn how to support them. So Tara definitely has a lot of a wealth of knowledge, and definitely if you want more information about that, I will include her tags from social media down below. With that being said, the next question that we can go on to is why is it important that the youth population learn more about mental health?
Oh, Brandon, I've got my snarky answer and I've got a serious answer. I'm going to start with the snarky answer. And that is because the grown-ups in the room are screwing it up. And I feel like younger generations have a much better starting handle on mental health. In my experience, Gen Z and even millennials are much more comfortable talking about mental health issues. They're much more comfortable talking about treatment or therapy or medication. They're much more comfortable being real with each other than older generations like mine.
Mm,
And for that reason, I feel like at some point we're just going to hand it over to y'all and just like let you run with it and fix it because the systems are so broken and so under-resourced and so understaffed. Um, but what's really going to help us all is being in a situation where we all feel comfortable talking about it and being open about it. That's my snarky answer. Um, I guess my other answer is just the more you know for your own well-being, the better off you're going to be, and the more you're going to be able to help your friends and family. And I also see that a lot more in younger generations, that they're really willing to reach out to other people and say, "Hey, what's going on with you? Are you okay? Are you struggling? Like, how can I help?"
yeah.
And if you're going to do that, which is fantastic, you need to have some good information and some good skills on board.
Well, the other thing that I would say that adds to what you're saying is just how when the youth are learn more and train more about mental health, they can also help each other out because you might know somebody who is struggling, who's a youth who's going through challenges with their mental health, and you can be supportive with them because you've got the proper training or you have at least a little bit of knowledge around mental health so that you can help other people. And that is,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, just a great perspective to think
I
about.
also think it's really important for kids to know when it's too much, right? Especially if we're talking about school age kids, teenagers. I think there's such a temptation to think I can handle this. I can help my friend with this. We don't have to bring the adults into the situation. I don't want to be a narc. I don't want to be a tattletale. But sometimes a situation is so serious that you
Mhm.
do need to involve other people, and sometimes that's the best kind of friend you can be. And so I think knowing where that line is for young people is also really important, so they don't try to shoulder too much of it themselves.
Yeah, that's well said as well. Yeah, great point. Okay, the next question is what are some ways that someone who is struggling with mental health can bounce back? And what are some of the catalysts to bounce back?
And I feel obligated to say here again, I am not a mental health provider. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I'm a mom, a mom with a lot of experience and a lot of training and education.
Hmm.
But some of the best ways that I have seen people really be able to recover and get better from mental health issues is, I sound like a broken record, but being willing to ask for help, being brave enough to tell somebody what's really going on and how bad it really is always the first step. Because until you are willing to do that for yourself, the people around you can't help and they want to help. They love you, but they need you to be honest. In addition, the people that you have around you are a huge factor in your healing journey. And so it's really important that you make sure there are people around you who are supportive, who are respectful, who are willing to listen without um, sharing too many unhelpful suggestions. I think surrounding yourself with the right support is super important.
Yeah.
And the other one, boy, I'd say this, I speak often to groups of parents, but I think this is true for all of us at any age of life. Get really good at being what I call a delightful squeaky wheel, being just a fantastically polite, but very persistent advocate for yourself.
Mm.
Can't get an appointment that you need? Keep calling. Ask to be put on the cancellation list. Ask for other resources. Um, don't feel like your psychiatrist is really hearing your concerns. Keep talking. Be polite, but be firm and be persistent. That delightful squeaky wheel perspective, I think, is one that really helps people understand, oh, I do have a right to advocate for myself and make sure that people hear me.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. The other thing that I would add on to what you're saying, I think that at an individual level, people who have a purpose in their life, such as a job or a volunteer positions or an activity that makes them really happy, those are really great ways to give people purpose. And when people have purpose, then they can allow themselves to work on their recovery, but doing it in a more holistic way when they have different people or different activities that are helping them to be responsible in their lives. So that would be the
That is
perspective.
so important and so true, Brandon. Such a good point. There's a young person in my life right now who's really struggling, who hasn't found that. And I think it's hugely affecting her ability to get better because she doesn't have what for her is a meaningful purpose.
Yes.
Um, so important. I'm not sure what the answer is when you don't know what that is yourself for
Keep
yourself.
searching. Keep searching.
Yeah,
You
keep
have to be
searching. Yeah.
vulnerable enough to tell yourself, I don't have the answers right now, but I'm going to keep trying. Like for me, my job as a generalist at the mental health organization here in Bellingham, Washington, that gives me purpose to help other people. And sometimes people are going through challenges and I can have a conversation with them and be empathetic because I have a lived experience with mental health challenges and I can definitely give people more perspective. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
awesome. Okay. So the next question is, how can friends and family best support someone with a mental health condition?
Listen, you don't have to have the perfect answers. You don't have to know exactly what to say. You certainly are not expected to fix it. Listen, ask questions, um, make it clear that you're not going anywhere, even if what they're going through is scary or hard. Um, and respect the fact that they know themselves and they probably know better than anyone else what they need and certainly what they're experiencing. And talk less and listen more. And if you're a parent, multiply that times four.
I love that. And I think the other thing that also adds with what you're saying is empathy. Because when we have empathy, when we listen empathetically, we can listen to other people and try and meet them with where they're at. Because at the level when people are in a state of crisis, for example, they're still working on their own mindset and trying to help themselves understand clearly why they're going through their challenges. And so when we, as an individual that is supporting another person, when we listen empathetically, then we can then totally help them process their own challenges in a positive way.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think one of the things that gets in the way of being an empathetic listener, particularly in a mental health crisis situation, is that we're scared. We're
Mm,
scared. And so we want to reach for those easy things to say that feel like we're checking the box. Oh, I'm being supportive. I'm going to say this cliche. And those things actually can make it worse for the
that,
person who's experiencing the mental health issue. So saying things like, everything's going to be fine. Stop worrying so much. Or you shouldn't feel depressed. You have so many friends, or you shouldn't feel depressed because you're so talented. And particularly for people who are struggling with suicidal thoughts, they don't need our bumper stickers. They don't need us to say, well, suicide is a temporary solution to a. No, I got it wrong. See, I think it's such a dumb statement that I can't even get it straight. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. That may feel like you're being clever and it may feel like you're trying to be helpful, but you're not. You're basically just reaching for an easy thing to say that makes you feel better about the anxiety that you're feeling, which is why it's always important to remember you can say, holy cow, that sounds really scary, or that sounds really hard. And I have no idea what to say right now, but I'm
mm,
not going anywhere. I'm
that's
here for you.
awesome. Yeah, thank you, Tara. Okay, the next question that we have is what changes would you like to see in how society approaches mental health with stigma and things like that?
I mean, how much time do we have, Brandon?
We have a really short time.
um, mental health is physical health. Your brain is an organ in your body, just like your kidneys or your elbow or your pancreas. And if you're struggling with mental health, there's something going on with your brain that needs help. It's not mysterious, it's not shameful, it's not secret, it's normal and is part of the human experience. And so the sooner that we can stop differentiating between mental health and physical health as if physical health is like that's normal, but mental health, that's weird and scary. They're the same thing. Just go get the help that you need so that you can feel better.
Mm,
We should be treating it no differently than we would treat heart disease or diabetes or arthritis. If you've got problems with stiff joints, you're going to go ask a doctor what's up and you're going to ask them for some help. And if you've got problems enjoying the things that you used to enjoy in life or having intrusive thoughts that you can't get rid of, go see somebody and ask for help and expect that from the people around you and encourage that in the people around you. I feel like that's the biggest change we can make.
okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. And then What do you do for fun that keeps you happy? This is the last question.
So as you said, I'm a mental health speaker. I'm a professional speaker on mental health. I speak to organizations and communities all the time, and one of my programs is on self-care. So I try not to be a giant hypocrite, and I try to take pretty good care of myself. And one of my favorite self-care things is to go to the movies on a regular basis. So I've made sure that I have the movie subscription so that money is like being spent and I'm wasting it if I don't go. And I love to go to the movies by myself. I don't care if anybody comes with me or not. I'm happy. So that's something I try to do once a week, ideally, is go to the movies all by myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tara, for being on this podcast episode today. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this for Come Back to Success podcast. I hope that this was helpful for you and that you can find some type of momentum and useful tips of advice for you in your own journey. And with that being said, we're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you.